owned now for 3 years by a private equity firm called Renovo Home Partners. And again, this is the first time that we've heard now anything since they shuttered the doors here. So the statement reads, I think, do we have it on a graphic, Ryan? Maybe we don't. Oh, it's okay. That's okay. No graphic. Okay. So the statement is, hold on, let me get to it here. Hang on. Hold with me. Want to make sure that I get this just right. So hang with me here, please. Thank you. Okay, let me get it. I got it. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, it says, it's very short. Dear Minnesota, with heavy hearts, we regrettably inform you Minnesota Rusco, a Renovo Home Partners company, has ceased all operations. We would like to wish our staff and their families the best as they navigate these difficult times, and thank all of Minnesota for their 70 years of support and trust. And you can find, if you go on the website, that is what's on the website right now. A couple of things to add into this conversation and this story. So I had a chance just a couple of hours ago actually to speak with one of the family members who was part of that sale, Minnesota Rusco to Renovo, Diana Deems, who gave me some more information. So again, she's reiterating that the family sold Minnesota Rusco 3 years ago to this private equity firm, Renovo Home Partners. 3 sons who continued to work there. 2 of them, probably the ones you've seen in the commercials most recently, continued to work with the company after the sale. According to Diana, the oldest son received a phone call 8 a.m. on Tuesday from Renovo telling them that they were shuttering the business and that they were filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Everybody needed to be out. The doors needed to be locked by 5 p.m. the next day, which would have been Wednesday, yesterday. And so Diana says that Renovo then had the brothers notify the employees, which they did via a Zoom call. There are an estimated about 100 people, who, more or less, who work there. She says that Renovo gave these employees 3 days worth of insurance. And also part of the story here, Renovo closed another 6 companies in its portfolio that same day. Minnesota Rusco is the only one here in Minnesota, but essentially had this conversation with Diana, who said the family is just devastated. They're sick about what happened. She said so many of those employees are like family. They're watching as all these innocent people are losing money in projects, the contractors, the customers, with no warning. And she just wanted to share that that's not, she says, what their family spent years representing. They've been part of the community. They're obviously very visible because you see their commercials everywhere. And she wanted people to know, the family was really blindsided by this, and most importantly, they're devastated for everybody involved. Didn't want to go on camera, just really shaken up about the whole thing, and so, but asked that we pass that statement along to you as part of the information on that continuing story. A couple of things that we are watching today, some live events this afternoon. 12:15, so in just a couple of minutes here, there's going to be a virtual phone call. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey is going to be joining some other Democratic mayors from across the country on this call. They're there to talk about the impacts of SNAP funding that are expected to run out on Saturday. And we know that that's a federal food program that helps 41 million people find well-balanced meals, including more than 4,000 here in Minnesota. The shutdown is what's causing this right now, day 30. Just a quick synopsis. Yesterday, the 13th vote happened on the Senate floor. 13th time it failed. The Senate is back in session this afternoon, but there is no vote. As far as I saw right before I came out here, there was no vote scheduled for today. And then for context, 35 days is our longest shutdown up until now. So we'll continue to watch that. And there's that 12:15 call that we'll keep an eye on. Also, at 12:30, something else that we're going to have a camera at, and we will bring to you if we can at all do it. Otherwise, you'll see the coverage later on today. But this is also in Minneapolis. There is a call for justice and accountability for Allison Lucier and Mariah Samuels. These are 2 young women who were killed by their ex-partners. So the Twin Cities Coalition for Justice is leading a press conference, again, 12:30, along with the victims' families, community members, and other activists. And they have a list of demands and things that they wanted to get out in the public, including the city of Minneapolis. They say they want them to prioritize domestic violence cases. They're actually asking for Chief Brian O'Hara to be terminated, along with some other things as well. So they're basically saying that these couple of cases really highlight what they're calling egregious failures of MPD to protect Black and Indigenous women. So we'll check in on that here in just a little bit. And also we have reached out to MPD as well to get a statement from them. So we'll bring that to you. One more quick thing here, 2 o'clock. So after we're off the air, but we're going to be watching this as well. So we're learning more about a new safe station in Minneapolis. This is a community resource that helps people with substance abuse, even opioid abuse. This is an announcement today that's happening at 2, and it's happening because the first that they had, so these are in fire stations, the first one in fire station, I believe 14, has apparently had a lot of success in the community, according to the city. So they're putting a second one in fire station 7. That's the Seward, Cedar Riverside, and Ventura neighborhoods in South Minneapolis. So that is coming to a fire station near you, those really critical life-saving resources. Okay, one thing that we want to talk about tonight that's happening. Let's see, Cathedral of St. Paul is hosting a special memorial, also a benefit concert, and this is for Annunciation Church and School. So if you want to go out there at 7:30 tonight, some different orchestras, some singing groups performing songs in the cathedral. There's a children's choir performing as well. So it's music and just some reflection. And again, Cathedral of St. Paul, the Cathedral Choir, St. Cecilia Children's Choir, Minnesota Orchestra, St. Paul Chamber Orchestra as well. So a lot of incredible talent will be there. Vocal Essence as well. It is free to attend. However, they will be accepting donations that they say will benefit directly these families who are affected by the Annunciation shooting, and also the organizations who have been supporting the community recovery as well. So that's happening tonight, and we'll be following that. Wanted to share this with you because this is a photograph that was shared by Annunciation Catholic Schools. This is on their Facebook page, their trunk and treat event. So Care Bear right there is Sophia Fortis. She was released from HCMC just last week. If you were watching us live that day, we got to play some of that in full, and seeing her come out and hug the nurses and doctors and everybody who's been helping her, and community members and friends and family who've been supporting her. Just such an incredible moment. She spent nearly 2 months, of course, at HCMC after she was shot in the head, the last person to be released from the hospital after that horrific morning. And her doctors at the time, remember, they were saying, they were bracing everybody for the worst and saying if she even survives this, it's going to be a miracle. And so to see her, walking and talking was incredible, and clearly a long journey ahead. So if you can get out and support them at the Cathedral in St. Paul tonight, a really, really good opportunity to do that. Also, one quick note here, if you have any bows of love, they're calling them. These are those green and blue bows that you've seen throughout the city. Maybe you've got some at your home. There's an organization, Bows of Love. They're working to collect them. In Minneapolis, they're asking, the city's asking that this is the last day to kind of have those out in public spaces. You can keep them at your homes as long as you want, but they're hoping to turn these into a future memorial. So if you could, hang on to those or help collect them, if you see some on trees, things like that, and hold on to them, and then you can donate them to the future memorial, hopefully, that's going to be happening using some of those bows. All right. Jared Piepenberg is here. We want to talk about Melissa a little bit. We want to talk about our forecast, but before we do that, a really big development overnight that we wanted to just share with you. China, so President Trump back in the U.S. now, his trip to Asia, we've been watching that. There was a lot riding on this meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The president saying on a scale of 1 to 10, that meeting, he's calling it a 12. The headline for our region is that China has agreed to buy U.S. soybeans. China also agreed to allow exports of some rare earth minerals, but this really is if this goes through, if this happens, will be such a big deal to so many of our farmers here in Minnesota. The U.S. in turn, just kind of tell you some of the concessions here. The U.S. has agreed to lower some of its tariffs from 20% down to 10%, and that's effective immediately. and those were the ones that were put in place to get China to stop selling chemicals that the U.S. said that they were using to make fentanyl. But again, some people skeptical, saying China's president has a history of sometimes backing out of these deals with American presidents. But you know, let's just hope that that's some really promising news for our soybean farmers here in our country, and of course here at home. All right, let's talk about Hurricane Melissa. In fact, if it's okay with you guys, I don't know if we have any video to show or anything, but if we could just, there we go, bring Jared in with me here, and you can put up his mic. And Jared, talk us through kind of where we are right now with Melissa.
Well, I'm guessing here we're seeing cleanup efforts for, you know, what's going on after it moved through Jamaica and then part of Cuba. But at the moment, it's just hanging out to sea off the eastern seaboard of the lower 48, kind of passed by the Bahamas, and now it's getting caught up in the upper atmospheric flow. So just like it's going so much faster than it was just meandering around in the Caribbean Sea there for a while. You know, days ago we were just watching it like, where's this really powerful storm going to go? Then it started to get a trajectory, and then we saw which way that it went to. So yeah, it of course did a lot of damage. The one nice thing is we had a little bit of lead time once it started to move. You know, like folks could start moving around there and do what they need to do with just getting out of the way of the hurricane. So there's our weather graphics. You can see kind of east of Florida, that's where Melissa's at right now. So category 2 still, so still a very powerful storm, but there's really nothing around except we see that little black dot to the northeast, which will be just west of where the track is going. That's Bermuda, that little black dot. So they're going to be dealing with the potential of effects of a hurricane, even though it doesn't look like a direct hit right now. It'll be to the west, but still it'll be close enough that the vicinity of that really powerful storm, it'll probably still be between a 2 and a 1. You can see the forecast for tomorrow morning is to be at category 1. So yeah, it'll be moving out to sea. In the meantime, our weather pretty quiet here.
Let's talk about this. I mean, people are like, wait, I hear it's going to rain on Halloween. So kind of set us straight here.
I would say some folks are probably going to just notice maybe some drizzle, some misting, maybe a couple just random drops as this little weak waves moving on by. There's another one going by today off toward western Minnesota where it looks like some folks are maybe seeing a couple wet snowflakes. There's some cold enough air aloft that it's just kind of hanging out here near us. Tomorrow, parts of the eastern Dakotas may see a little bit of that. Around Minnesota, just expecting kind of be out like, oh, did I just notice a couple, couple drops here and there? And there may be a couple showers in the mix too, but enough to cancel Halloween plans, I don't see that at all. Just there'll be a select few people like, well, I ended up being one of those that had like, that brief, tiny little weak shower or something like that. So I don't think it'll be that big a deal, but it's still going to be kind of cool. Not as cold as last year. If you remember, last year was just a horrible day.
Yeah, it was awful. Yeah. We've had other years where it's been, hot, almost warm. But good. It's, it's still decent, and you get to see some of the costumes, and it's going to be just fine. It's not a washout by any means.
You may just need an extra layer on being out and about because, you saw the graphic there. It's still going to be in the lower 40s probably by the end of trick-or-treat time, which is chilly for running around. But I don't see any snow pants or anything like that for tomorrow. So there's good news.
Good deal. All right. Thank you, Jared. Appreciate it very much. Well, let's take a break. We'll come on back here much more on All Day Live. We hope you can stay with us here as we cover your day's news. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to All Day Live. We want to check some regional headlines here for you before we start moving on with some of our other live events today. Let's start in Ely. Oh boy, the DNR investigating there because they say that a deer was shot with a bow within Ely city limits. So they're trying to figure this out. It was on East Main Street, which they say is near the Ely Recreational Center. 8-point buck shot on or around October 22nd and then discovered on the 23rd. So anybody with information related to this has to contact the DNR. You can, the tip or turn in poachers hotline. Ely Police Department is investigating as well if you know anything about that. All right, to Duluth now, where the city's planning commission is considering sending more land at the former Lester Park golf course. Let's see, selling? Is it supposed to be selling? Ryan, is that selling? Oh, it's okay. If they're considering selling more land or sending more land? Good. Okay, all right. Considering selling more land at the former Lester Park golf course, Duluth News Tribune reporting that more than 37 acres of the golf course is already on the market. It looks like it would open up more land to be used for possible development, and then most of the land is zoned for parkland. Some of it, though, could be used for housing if the commission signs off on it. So Lester Park, it looks like, is just northeast of downtown Duluth along Highway 61 and Lake Superior right there. So that is a primo spot. Okay, let's go to Rochester. Let's do this. Rochester, the city's Heritage Preservation Commission trying to designate Central Park as a city landmark. A Rochester Post Bulletin with this one saying that the commission is weighing the park's historical integrity. It's Rochester's first public park. It's been used, maybe you've seen some musical events there, maybe you've attended a political rally there. Well, Rochester's mayor wants to see the park get landmark status, and then that would protect it from any further investment. So if that's approved, then it would join Silver Lake Park and Soldiers Memorial Field Park as city landmarks in Rochester. Also, one more here, Rochester. When I first heard this, I was like, are you sure? Can you double check this? Because that's crazy. The Apache Drive McDonald's manager was named one of the best in the world, not in Rochester, not in Minnesota, not in the Midwest, not in the U.S., in the world. So this came from the Post Bulletin. Kara found this one this morning, and it says that Mario Gonzalez Martinez won this award yesterday. It names him in the top 1% of McDonald's managers worldwide. Of course, my next question is, when can we talk to him? Because this is a big deal, and my goodness, how do you beat out that many people? So there are, I think, something like 40,000 McDonald's restaurants worldwide. So that, you know, my goodness, 200,000 managers, I don't know, it's huge. So congratulations to you for winning that, and we would love to have you on all day to find out what your secret sauce is. Maybe what your secret sauce is, how about that? All right, let's see. Ryan? All right, nothing on there. He's been busy back there trying to kind of just right the ship. Not that we're wronged. We're not heading the wrong direction. There's not like an iceberg dead ahead or anything, but there's just a lot going on. So Ryan's back there doing that. Thank you for that. Did you say we have some Zen from Amber? From BC, British Columbia. Amber, thank you for sending this in. Producer Amber, that is. She's back. She's been on a very special trip. Maybe she'll tell us about it when she gets back. But this was in Shannon Falls in British Columbia. Thank you. Thank you, Amber Milner. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to All Day Live. We've got our Paul Bloom here, part of the investigative unit now, but also just really covers a lot of different things for us, including the court beat. You really have covered a lot of high-profile cases for us. So we thought it'd be a good idea to bring you in because there are some kind of developments in a couple of different areas, right?
Cases that I've been tracking.
That, but also because Tu Tao is going to be released this week. I know you covered that extensively and have been in contact with his attorney. Tell us a little bit about this week and what we can expect.
Well, right, Tu Tao, the fourth officer in the murder of George Floyd there, Derek Chauvin, of course, still in federal prison. The two officers who were kneeling on Floyd at the time, Lang and King, they've both already been released from federal prison. And Tu Tao, if you recall during sentencing, one of the more senior officers, I remember Judge Cahill sort of admonishing Tao at the time that said clearly you didn't have as much culpability as Derek Chauvin did, but definitely more than the two rookie officers, Lane and King. Remember, they were just a couple days into their assignments with MPD at the time, and Tao never touched Floyd, but he held back bystanders from intervening.
Yeah, he was the one kind of between the bystanders.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was kind of defiant during sentencing, and I was there, and I remember that, and Judge Cahill said he had hoped for more remorse and sentenced him to the max at the time, even more than prosecutors were seeking. So 4 3/4 years, 57 months at the time, that sentence to run concurrently with what he was serving on the federal, civil rights violation as opposed to aiding and abetting the homicide. And but his time is now up, his behind bars time. So he gets out next week, Monday. He's at a federal prison down in Lexington, Kentucky. I don't know what happens to him next if he comes back here. I know he had strong family ties up here. We presume he's coming back here, but he will be done and have served his time, but will be on probation and then under supervision for another year plus. But he's getting out on Monday.
Okay. Also, I know you have an update on Hardell Sherrill's case, which you've been following years now.
7 years ago, he died in that jail up in Beltrami County, and then we were the first. I remember Delshia Perry, who became an advocate pursuing justice for her son. She came to the station. I did the first sort of in-depth interview, had the excruciating jailhouse surveillance video, which I think we have queued up. It's hard to watch, but it is important because this is what we are talking about when we talk about an inmate. He was in custody, minor offense here, struggling, basically, dying before the eyes of those who were caring for him. And, they kind of described it as they thought he was malingering, faking his ailments. And what would happen years later, the Attorney General, in conjunction with the county attorney up there in Beltrami County, ultimately filed criminal charges, manslaughter charges, negligence type charges against the nurse who was responsible for the medical care for all the patients up at the Beltrami County Jail. So her case is now working its way through the courts, and two interesting filings. I just want people, because we are now talking a lot, right, about jailhouse conditions, the rights of inmates, the negligence. How do you care for these people who are in your custody? Two interesting filings. One, the defense just this week has filed a motion to dismiss. They said that there's not enough evidence that what this nurse did was enough to charge her with the manslaughter or the negligence. So that's interesting. The defense wants the case tossed out. Obviously, judge will have to decide. And then the other thing, from the other side, prosecutors have now tracked down a second case. Inmate didn't die, but in Anoka County, where this nurse was also responsible for care back in 2022, so several years ago now, but where they are arguing that her negligence there was an inmate who was coming off a drug addiction, having withdrawals, didn't get him the care he needed. He would fall out of bed and bang his head and suffer a traumatic brain injury. And they are seeking to admit that type of evidence in this case against her for Hardell Sherrill's death. So you have the defense moving to try to get this case tossed out. Meanwhile, you have the prosecution doubling down, looking into her background, finding other examples where they believe there was negligence, and they want the judge eventually, if this case goes to trial, to allow that evidence to come in to show a pattern of behavior against the nurse. But really, certainly, I don't want to call it unprecedented, but a unique case. You don't usually get a caregiver charged like this criminally with a manslaughter count. So that's going to be a big battle up in court. Obviously, that's Beltrami County, but a lot of eyes on that. And I know we talked about the Dakota County lawsuit with another kind of jailhouse situation where there are now allegations that police missed a stroke and that the guy would eventually die in their custody.
Yeah, very timely stuff that's happening here. I also wanted to ask you about, so we've been watching, again, just a really interesting case that's played out, tragic death of Monique Bao, the realtor. And now, you know, people might be thinking, well, didn't we go through this already? Or, you know, haven't we been down this road before? So tell us where we are in that trial with the...
So this is the so-called mastermind on trial, Lyndon Wiggins. This is Monique Bao, a beautiful young mother of two, lured to a fake real estate showing in Maple Grove. This is also, you know, half a dozen years ago now. But the mastermind was first convicted of first-degree murder. Case was overturned on appeal. Same Judge Cahill from the Floyd matter made a mistake apparently during the jury instructions that basically sent the case back to trial. We're getting close to the end of that. Not quite the closing arguments just yet, but this week, Lyndon Wiggins' girlfriend, Elsa Segura, took the witness stand, and she's really the linchpin. She's the one who makes the phone call to lure Bao to the bogus real estate showing in Maple Grove. That's where she is kidnapped by two other co-defendants or associates and is tragically killed and discarded and thrown. It's just a horrible, the facts of that case. But two men already, Cedric Barry Davis, they're already serving life sentences. But Elsa Segura, the girlfriend, testifying against Lyndon Wiggins is shocking. You know, it was the first time she had to testify against him. She's already serving her own time. So to bring her back from prison, testify, and my understanding in the way this case is coming in is that she really connects Lyndon Wiggins to all the other players and why there would be this, because Wiggins allegedly was after Monique Bao's boyfriend, the father of her children. So Monique Bao, you know, Elsa Segura kind of connects all the dots. So we'll see what happens. We're getting close to an end there, but we'll obviously be monitoring a verdict as we get on verdict watch.
Unbelievable that families had to go through so much. The last thing I want to ask you about, another high-profile case that a lot of people are going to remember. You may not recognize the name Cody Forenkamp, but you may remember D. Hill.
Yeah, Deshaun Hill Jr., Minneapolis North High School star student athlete, gunned down just blocks from school 3+ years ago. Now that's a 2022 case. That's also was there was a conviction. Jury took maybe an hour to convict Cody Forenkamp the first time, but on appeal, the appeals court has said a key piece of evidence, the police interrogation of Cody Forenkamp in custody. I know we have video of that. He's talking to officers. He's been Mirandized. This video right here, this is what this, I mean, I don't want to say the whole case comes down to it, but certainly the outside of the courtroom fight comes down to this video. The appeals court ruled that authorities up in northern Minnesota held him for too long against violating his constitutional rights. They were waiting for Minneapolis police detectives to get there to ask him these questions. And now there's this battle as we retry this case. Can this video be used at the second trial? And prosecutors say they have enough to convict either way. But while they say that out of one side of their mouth, Amy, they've gone to the Minnesota Supreme Court. They're taking this argument to the Supreme Court. They are trying desperately to get this video. What he says is important, how he looks, because at the time it puts him, you can kind of see the similar looks that he would have in the surveillance video in the neighborhood where D. Hill was killed to what he looks like there. His statements, he's all over the place. He's he kind of goes toe-to-toe with officers. So the Supreme Court has 60 days, 2 months. It was just petitioned last week. So in the next couple months, we'll find out if the Supreme Court will take up this matter to let the state maybe get that back into evidence. We'll see. The state feels they have a good argument to make. And then this trial that was set to, I mean, we were supposed to get to jury selection next week. And now the judges had to push that case into February, at least, of next year. And if the Supreme Court takes it up and then makes any kind of decision related to it, could get pushed back even further. So that's a case that's dragging on that we'll obviously continue to focus on.
My goodness, it's you know this from covering the courts. It's nothing happens quickly, and just when there's retrials and things go wrong, it's so tragic for so many different reasons. But all right, well, thank you for that update. Appreciate that kind of top line, because you hear these things and then there's just this little update, and it's hard to keep track of everything. So to kind of know where we are on
some of these, like you said, are overturned cases, and you lose track. But you think about the victims' families here, how this stretches on. I mean, DL, his parents, obviously Delshia Perry, Hardell Shurls, they're reliving this. The video's shown again, the possible, trials.
Family,
they don't understand. Like in D. Hill's case, they see the murderer right there. They can't understand. It's video. It's evidence. Put it into, and so we will continue to follow it all. But thanks for having me.
All right, Paul. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate your time. Okay, you want to take a quick break, Ryan? Come on back. Should we do that? Let's do that. Oh, okay. Let's check the weather, and then we'll be right back. More All Day Live to continue after this. More live events as well. Stay with us.
Well, we were cloudy, we were foggy, I guess we were more foggy than anything else. Now we just have some clouds rolling on into the area for our Thursday, happy Thursday, by the way, our Thursday afternoon. Partly sunny to mostly cloudy to cloudy. Through the day today, glimmers of blue here and there as we replace our morning fog with some extra clouds, we'll simply call it, as a cold front moving across the state today dies. Ooh, ominous on top of us. A couple of sprinkles out west. Kind of fade away, but the spirit of the cold front haunts us as we creep into Halloween. 49 degrees for a high this afternoon is actually just a couple of degrees below average overall. As we slip into Halloween, the ghosts of the cold front linger as the cloud cover lingers tonight and tomorrow. A couple of those sprinkles do indeed kind of flare and fade off and on. Very weak amounts of moisture here as we go for a high of 45 tomorrow. Trick-or-treat time. Now that's a scary skeleton. We'll go from the mid-40s to the low 40s as we slide on into the 8 o'clock hour by the time trick-or-treaters are hopefully wrapping up by that point. Sunset, by the way, tomorrow night is at 6:02, so just some passing clouds, some peaks of sun on Halloween, and again, maybe some creepy and eerie little mist here and there, but maybe he froze in place. Poor skeleton. As we go on into the first day of November on Saturday, we got ourselves partly sunny conditions, a high of 46, still just a tick below average, but then everything changes and woof, here comes some sunshine. We get rid of daylight saving time. Sun goes down at 4:59 in the afternoon, but we're heading to highs back to the middle 50s, and it's all about the warmth, quote unquote, for November. Mid to upper 50s. It's not crazy warm, but it's 10 degrees above average as we head on into the middle days of next work week. Fox 9 All Day Live continues. We are back right after the break.
welcome back to All Day Live, and I'm so sorry you caught me finishing my my trail mix here. Just a second. And Ryan and I were gonna put a call out, and this is a little test to see who in our newsroom is watching right now, or who in this building is watching right now. So today is a very exciting day here at Fox 9. It's our Halloween party, and some people who are like super fun and super creative decided to dress up today. So if you are hearing my voice right now in the newsroom and you want to do a little parade behind us with your costume, now would be the time to do it. There she is. I knew it. I knew it. Here she comes. Here she comes, Ryan. Do, 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 do. Okay, Ryan, let's go. All right, ready? It's, so we have two parties. We have a party for, oh, here she comes. Okay, ready? Oh, can't see you. There you are. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, here comes the Men in Black. Yeah, Lori, Melissa, love it. Men in Black, not the Blues Brothers. No Rob King, not the Blues Brothers. It's the Men in Black, the women in black. Love it, you guys. Complete with balloons. But no helium though, right? Couldn't find any helium?
What?
You couldn't find the helium?
No, I float it myself.
Okay. Oh, helium's expensive too. Oh, yeah, it's kind of creepy. Thank you though. Thanks, Lori.
Hello, buddy.
Thanks. Aw, so fun. Yeah, we have fun sometimes here. We really do. But yeah, we have a party in the morning for the morning shift, and then we have a party in the afternoon for the afternoon. It's twice the party. It's a good time here at Fox 9. So maybe some others will come down in a little while and show us their costumes as well. All right, we want to go through a couple of more headlines for you here, and then what time is it? Ooh, 43. At 45, we know that Gopher men's head coach Nico Medved usually has an availability at Williams Arena, just right there on the floor, a little scrum with reporters, and we're there. So if we see him pop up, Ryan, you interrupt me and let me know. But in the meantime, a couple of notes here. So a court case. So today, the man accused of killing 4 people in Minneapolis. You may remember this. It was just a few months ago. Is going to be back in the courtroom. This is James Ortley, who's accused of injuring 5 deputies inside the Hennepin County Jail. So according to court documents, Ortley was meeting with a visitor in the jail last week, and as the visitor was leaving, Ortley, they say, pushed past them, grabbed a nearby fire extinguisher, and then tried to bust through an exit door. And when deputies tried to restrain him, he's accused of spraying them with a fire extinguisher, causing chemical injuries. So he now faces 7 felony charges for escape from custody, assault, and damage to property. But remember the case that I was referencing. You may remember the horrific. Remember when we had a couple of mass shootings, kind of back to back here several months ago now, 3 or 4 months ago. This was one of them. And so James Ortley faces 5 counts of second-degree murder. And that's what put him behind bars in the first place. Accused of shooting 5 people in the head while sitting in the car with them, point blank, this was in April. And so that court date for that case is scheduled for mid-December. This one, though, we're learning there was some trouble while he was in jail, allegedly. So we'll continue to follow that for you. But there's a court hearing today on that. Also, this happened late this morning, and I was like, oh, goodness sakes, this is a story that a lot of people can't get enough of. But developing in France this afternoon, 5 more people have been arrested now in that Louvre Museum jewel heist. Did you think anybody was I didn't think anybody was probably going to get arrested on this one, because it just seemed like it was so, masterfully done, right? They got away. How did they get away? Well, no other details really given other than yesterday, 2 suspects who were arrested. Let's see. 5 more people. Okay, so yesterday, 2 suspects who were arrested last weekend were charged with robbery and conspiracy to commit a crime. It was October 19th, and now 5 more people, but we don't have any more information about them that I've seen. I did see a little report this morning where they were saying they don't believe it's an inside job. There's no indication. And the person they interviewed said something like, you would be shocked at how little money or whatever people will take to do something like this. So a couple of little breadcrumbs there. We'll watch to see, but still no sign of the stolen jewels. $102 million, still no sign of them. So we'll see if they can get some information. Maybe people will kind of turn on each other, and maybe they can come up with where those are. Priceless. Okay, Nico yet? No Nico? Oh, better go for, okay. Isaac Azubit. Why don't we listen in really quick and listen to Isaac, Gopher men's basketball team. Oh, and of course it's frozen right now. So I'll just let you know that Gophers had an exhibition game. I believe it was last Saturday, and then Monday, Ryan. I believe it's Monday. They're hang on. Yep.
Yes.
Non-conference season on Monday. Against Gardner-Webb. Gardner-Webb.
So we're starting to get into the college basketball season. Things don't really...
You love.
I've always kind of associated the start of college basketball around Thanksgiving. That's when you have some of those big kind of, I don't want to call them preseason tournaments, but early tournaments. The Maui Invitational, the Battle of the Bahamas, or whatever they call that now. But we are starting to get some games being played. The Gophers had a couple exhibition games, and now they're getting set for. And did that shot, Leo, does that look better? Can we hear from Isaac here? Well, maybe. It's unfrozen.
Okay. Nico Medved, of course, first-year head coach, filling in now after Ben Johnson was let go. So we'll find out what this team is made of under a brand new head coach here. New season. It's kind of exciting to think about the possibilities. Hopefully they can do well. I miss those days.
Let's try it, Leo.
Okay, let's
and
listen
then here he goes. He walks away.
Of course. It's like.
We have a couple live events going on right now. You mentioned it, Amy, that it's a little bit chaotic back here, and the timing just isn't working out for any
those days
of our live events.
I feel like the people on the other end of this are at home going, okay, now, have them walk away now. Yep, they're tossing to him, go, now, walk away, walk away.
Yeah.
I feel that some days it feels like that. We know that's not happening. Do we need to take another break? Because if not, there are a couple things that we can roll through here.
We've got through all of our breaks, so let's roll through.
Let's do it, because
and then
Ryan,
we'll wait for Nico to come up here.
I promised something yesterday. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago in our menu? You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
I said in the menu at the beginning of the show when we say, these are the things we're covering today, and I said, we now have a date for Krispy Kreme. And then we never got to the story.
No.
It's my bad. I'm so
let's
sorry.
do it now.
Let's do it now. Okay, so official opening date for the donut chain's return, November 12th at 8 a.m. Is that what day of the week is that? Is that a weekday? Yeah, it's a weekday. It's a weekday.
It's a weekday. Yep. So you're going to be late for work that day, aren't you?
Yeah. You know, I love a friendly Fridley. Love a glazed donut, and then also, you know, when that sign is on, you know, they're warm, and that just so good.
You and Amber have been talking about this Krispy Kreme for a long time.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
And the newsroom in a whole, so much so that when I announced that there was a Crisp and Green coming to Eden Prairie, people thought I had said Krispy Kreme.
No.
And
we were all super excited. We were like, oh, and we were like, it's okay.
Yeah. So November 12th.
November 12th, 8 a.m. It is the old CVS station at CVS at 56th and University in Fridley. And so Krispy Kreme was last in Minnesota in 2008. 17 years ago.
It's been a while. I remember when the first one opened back in, I want to say it was like 2001, because I was in high school. It opened in Maple Grove, and I remember me and my friend Tim Mueller, shout out Tim, we drove up to Maple Grove, and we waited hours to get those donuts. And yeah, so that was roughly 2001. We'll call it 2001, 2000.
You think they'll be okay this time around? I mean, they did leave. They left the market, you know. So you think they're gonna be okay?
Yeah, I think so. I think if they just do a few stores here and there, I think what happened is they kind of, when they came in here, they boom, all of a sudden they were everywhere. And then they were inside Targets. And so you couldn't get away from Krispy Kreme. So if you make it kind of a special thing, right?
That, you know, we're no marketing experts, but I feel like that is a good strategy. State Fair, you know, things like that. Okay, let's see. Well, let's talk about the Blue Jays. Notice I didn't say let's talk about the Dodgers. Let's talk about the Blue Jays, because what a story there, and what a series, Ryan.
Yeah, really incredible. I mean, go back to Game 3, that marathon Game 3, which LA won in 18 innings. You kind of thought, was this going to be kind of the knockout blow for Toronto? Are they going to be able to bounce back? And they did. Not only did they win Game 4, they won Game 5. Now they're going back to Toronto with a 3-2 series lead. They just need to get one of these. Tough task tonight. Yamamoto on the mound for LA. He's arguably their best starting pitcher, and he's had a couple complete games in this series, so he could go the distance again. But Toronto also has their ace on the mound in Kevin Gausman. So this is going to be tomorrow night. Did I say tonight?
You did say tonight.
I am excited. So it's a travel day. They have to get, they have to clear customs, passport control, all that.
Yep.
But tomorrow night on Fox 9, you'll see it. And then if LA can win, we go down to a Game 7. And there's nothing like that, Amy.
That's what I hear.
There's nothing like a Game 7.
That's what the word on the street is. There's nothing like a Game 7.
Yeah.
No, what an incredible series. And I know there's a lot of Dodgers fans out there. You won it like 7 times.
And one more note, I should say that the Blue Jays won the past 2 games without one of their better players in George Springer, who left Game 3 after what looked like kind of an oblique. He swung. It looked like an innocent swing, but then kind of went right to the dugout and was taken out of the game. He hasn't been back. He had a helmet on yesterday. It looked like he was going to come in to pinch run at some point, but that never happened. So we'll have to check the lineup tomorrow to see if he is in Game 6. So that would be a big boost. But the Blue Jays have done it without him so far.
Right out of the gate, too, last night. That was the game last night, right? I'm losing track of time. But the first 2 hitters up.
Are you talking about when Springer left the game?
No, the home runs.
Oh,
was that last night or was that 2 nights ago?
Springer has hit some leadoff home runs, yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember. They all blend kind of together.
Okay,
but he has been a force, and, he would be a big boost for Toronto to have back. They just need to win one.
I mean, those Toronto fans have to just be so beside themselves. It's with excitement. That's amazing. I was watching that game with my grandma last night, and so much so that I forgot the Timberwolves were on.
I know.
That never happens. That's never happened to me ever. And I think it was because I knew. Well, no offense, because I love this team, but Ant was going to be playing, and then you knew that on the other side of things there wasn't going to be. So it kind of fell off of my radar. But man, that one, and I'm kind of glad I didn't see it now because that was a heartbreaker. Yeah, Julius Randle, you think we got it at the last second, and then nope. Austin Reeves.
I was watching it and kind of gave up on it. It's getting kind of late. These late starts, and this one was in Minnesota. Come on now. I know it was a nationally televised game, so that's why we had the 8:40 tip or whatever it was. But I was surprised when I saw the score and how close it was.
It's a tough time of year. We'll have to erase this.
It's early.
It is.
It's early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I reading this right? Wait, are we going to go to 58?
We're going to go to 57. We got a little zen. We'll go to about 2.5 minutes here, Amy. I'm still watching Gophers.
Okay.
We're hoping Nico Medved walks up here and gives us a little bit of an update.
He's been on time for the most part.
For the most part.
Oh, I don't know if John's asking if I'm sending a Zoom link. I emailed you one. If you're watching.
Sometimes we produce the show on the fly. It's
we
part
like
of our
it that way. Okay, this is in here today, and I don't know why, other than maybe this is your favorite performer.
No.
Is it? Oh, okay, Morgan Wallen is coming to. Is it U.S. Bank?
He is. And hold that thought. We're going to bear with us on the technology here. It's going to be a little bit, but Nico Medved is at the podium right now. We're going to give it a shot.
Let's go.
Yeah. It feels like you already opened because you played Division I teams already. Did you approach it that way, or because the exhibitions don't count, is it different?
I mean, it's definitely different because it does count now. It counts for everything. It counts against your record, your analytics, all that stuff. But yeah, I just thought that for us, having an opportunity to play Division I's and exhibition was good for us. We wanted to play at home, just so many new faces, want to get a feel for playing in the barn. Even, like I said, for the coaches, too, just coming back, everything just feels a little bit different. So I think for us to go through that a couple of times was really, really good. But it still does feel different opening night.
What'd you learn, do you think, in those first 2 exhibitions?
I mean, there's the good and the bad. I mean, I was encouraged by, the things that we've emphasized since we've gotten here, the way we want to move the ball and share, for having so many new faces. I thought we really did see some unselfishness, 20 assists the other night. So I think the guys buying into that was really, really encouraging. Thought we did a nice job in transition. I think the guys are slowly but surely getting better. We still have work to do figuring out our roles, defensively, rebounding, all that stuff. But I think I did see overall a team that was really trying to play the way we want them to play.
Nico, when you look at a box score after a game, where does your eye gravitate to as the most important things?
I think it's different, maybe game to game. I mean, I really wanted to look. The things that stood out the other night were 20 assists, but then 20 turnovers, which was, tough. Some of that was the way they played, some of it, different times of the game. But I think those are things that, you look at. Been looking at the rebounding numbers a little bit, on both. I think that's a factor for us. And then just the simple effective field goal percentage, offense and defense. And that doesn't show up in the box score. That's a little bit more analytics, but those are the things that we're looking for. And then something that doesn't show up in analytics all the time that I always focus on is just shot quality. If I'm watching the game, I'm like, okay, what kinds of shots are we forcing them to take, and what kinds of shots are we getting on offense? And you just sometimes get a feel for the game that way. Maybe you're down earlier, it's tied, but it's like, man, they've made some tougher shots and we're getting good looks, or I don't know if that makes sense, but I think those are things you're kind of looking at in these games.
How happy have you been with the shot quality through the exhibition?
I think pretty good. I think, again, it's really early, but I think for the most part, I'm really happy with the shots this team are taking. I think they're turning down good shot for great shot. There's probably even some times when somebody should shoot the ball and maybe turns it down to give it to a teammate. I'd much rather have them playing that way early in the season. So far, at least, I think the shot quality's been pretty good, but it's going to get harder from here.
Is that all observational?
What do I? A best shooter?
Or one or two?
I mean, clearly, you look at what Cade Tyson's already done here in the first 2 games, and yeah, I mean, he can really, really shoot the ball. I mean, Cade, and he's a guy too. You look at his numbers at Belmont 2 years ago. He made 80-some threes at 44-45%. That's a high level right there, and he's made him in practice, and he's made him in our first 2 exhibition games. I also think we got some other guys on our team who can shoot. I think Isaac Asama is another one that, boy, in practice, he's really, really shot the ball well. And just because he hasn't made him in a couple of games, I think he's going to shoot it well. I think we got several guys who can shoot the ball.
Nico, is that shot quality sort of all observational, or do you guys have some kind of more tangible ways to judge that?
I mean, there's, the low-hanging fruit in analytics is the, threes, and we call them rack zone twos, right? People don't like the mid-range shots, but I'm probably a little bit more gray with that, in the sense it's different for different guys in different situations. I think that, we don't try to overcoach that stuff, because you got to play. You can't be over there looking over your shoulder. Should I shoot that shot? Should I not? But I think it's something that we talk about with these guys. We want paint touches. We want to, help each other get great shots. And I think a lot of that stuff is just kind of a feel thing, to be honest.
Length obviously would be a concern in the Big Ten. Are you going to get enough challenges in length during the preseason or the non-conference season to figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, right? I mean, the Big Ten, I look this year, and I don't even want to think about the Big Ten right now. It's going to be so good. But yeah, I think all these teams will challenge us in different ways. I mean, gosh, I think the 3rd game of the season, we go on the road to Mizzou. That will tell us a lot. I know that, but we're going to get told a lot Monday. This team we're going to play Monday is really athletic. They're well coached. I think people need to be careful too in today's era. You see these preseason rankings, right? And everyone's got you. The preseason Ken Pom thing means nothing right now, unless you maybe got some teams that have a ton of returners. You can maybe tell a bit more. But God, so many people have so many new faces, and there's always going to be a lot of surprises here the first month of the season. But yeah, length and size will be a challenge for us all year, and we're going to have to find ways to mitigate that with being tough, and also maybe sometimes being able to play smaller. Even though that can be a challenge at this level, sometimes playing smaller and using our quickness and ability to spread the floor to our advantage. So you got to find a way to leverage your strengths, and as we figure out what those are, that's what we got to get into the game.
Is there an update on Kai?
Kai should be, he's going to probably start practicing a little bit today, so hopefully, knock on wood, he should be available for the game Monday.
Any other injury or health issues outside of chance?
I mean, I think, we're in these dog days right now. These guys are just ready to start playing, man. I mean, we've been going since June, and I think, this week right now, we just played UND, and this week before we get ready to play on Monday, we'll probably do some different things in practice, and some guys that just got some normal bruises, bumps, and whatever, maybe try to get guys a little bit extra rest so we can try to go into the season as healthy as possible.
Might be a little premature, but we won't talk to you before. Do you know anything about Gardner Webb that you can tell us a little bit?
So you got to remember, I coached at Furman as an assistant and head coach. I've played Gardner Webb several times. They've had, you remember a guy named Chris Holtman, right? Coach at Ohio State. He used to be the coach at Gardner-Webb, and his assistant, Tim Kraft, took over for him, who's a terrific coach now at Western Carolina. His assistant took over for him. I know they're going to be more athletic than the two teams that we've just played, a lot more aggressive, crash the glass, get out in transition. So we'll be challenged probably a different way there. They've had success in that program, and yeah, they lose a lot of guys, but they're going to be well prepared. And I think these early games are always scary because you have a little bit of film, but you don't really know what you're walking into. I always get scared early in the game. You walk out and somebody throws some funky zone or some sort of action you haven't worked on that you had no ability to see on film and prepare for. Like, sometimes those things can get tricky, but hopefully maybe there's an opportunity for us to do that to an opponent as well.
All right. Did you need another minute to fix your shirt? Okay.
It's gonna work good.
Yeah, Nico Medved, first-year coach for the Golden Gopher men's basketball team. Hearing from him again, which is good. Their first game, I think, when did I just had that up, Ryan?
First game's Monday. November 3rd against Gardner-Webb.
That was it. Okay, sounds good. We're going to take a break and then reset in the 1 o'clock hour. John Bonus is joining us next live. We're going to talk about Derek Shelton. Who? Well, he's the Twins' new manager. We'll talk all about it when we come back. Welcome back to All Day Live. Glad you're here. 1:05 is our time, and we are following the story that broke late yesterday afternoon, and the dust still not quite settled on this as people are trying to figure out who the new Twins manager is. A guy by the name of Derek Shelton, and he has a little bit of a history here, and more avid baseball fans will know the name and where he comes from. We asked John Bonus of Twins Daily to pop on in here and talk to us a little bit about it. John, Twins Daily, what else? There's something else I'm missing. Your podcast.
Twins Daily, also the Gleeman and the Geek podcast, probably,
of course.
locally.
Want to make sure that we get
of course.
Thanks for
Don't
being
miss
with us.
that.
Thanks for being here. I love to ask you this because we've had some really big Twins news that we've come to you with in the last year or so. Okay, where were you when you got the news, and what was your reaction?
I was actually at a happy hour with my wife when I got it, and my reaction was, oh no, I've got to get back to the office here to take care of some stuff.
Oh,
so that was it.
Last time you were in the middle of a podcast.
We kind of expected, we also did jump in and do a podcast right after that. We expected the news we'd heard rumors that they were close. We knew that they were doing lots of interviews. We heard they were down to about 4 candidates, and we expected the news to be today or we expected them to officially announce it today, because Major League Baseball doesn't like teams announcing these sort of news on days that there are World Series games. And yesterday was the Game 5 of the World Series. They try to tell teams to avoid that. Well, the Twins did try to avoid it, but John Heyman from the New York Post found out the news, found it out some way, and sprung it on us all. And so, yes, my last night was a little busy.
It was. Who else were they looking at? Are you able to say?
Yeah, I mean, the other 3 candidates that were reported to be in the finals were James Rowson, who was another former Twins coach, similar to Derek Shelton, Scott Service, who was the Mariners coach for the last 6 years or something like that before this year, when they had all their success and went to the postseason, and then another guy by the name of Ryan Flaherty, who was a bench coach for the Chicago Cubs.
Okay, so tell us what we need to know about Derek Shelton. You know, casual fans have probably I'd never heard the name before.
Sure.
What do we need to know about him?
Derek Shelton is a former bench coach of the Minnesota Twins. He was the bench coach, or he was the hitting coach, I think, underneath Paul Molitor in Molitor's last year with the Twins. And then when they hired Rocco Baldelli, he interviewed for the Twins job that Rocco Baldelli got. Oh. But he and Rocco Baldelli had gone back and coached on the same staff with the Tampa Bay Rays at the time. And so when Shelton lost out to Baldelli, he might have been, I think we were reportedly surprised to hear Baldelli call him and say, I'd actually like you to be my bench coach if you could. And that was the 2019 season when the team had a lot of success. James Rowson, by the way, one of the other candidates, was the hitting coach that year.
Oh, wow.
And both Shelton and Rowson got hired away from the Twins after that 2019 season. James Rowson ended up being going to be a bench coach with the Marlins, and Derek Shelton ended up being hired as the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And that's where he has been as the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates up until May of this year, when he was fired as manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay, so he has a little bit of history here. Does that concern you at all? Did you think they'd go out and find somebody that maybe clean slate this thing, or what do you think about that?
Well, the two things that people seem to have concerns about, that's one of them, right? One of them is that looking at this organization over the last 2 years, basically since the Poles decided to right-size the team and payroll back in 2024, right after they won a couple of games in the postseason, the team and organization have essentially been in a state of stasis. You know, they haven't really spent money. They have cut payroll. They went up for sale, but they actually didn't get sold. About the only thing that's happened has been, big thing that has happened since that happened was they had a big fire sale at the trade deadline this year, and that's for several steps backwards, not any steps forward. And so, part of the concern with hiring Shelton is this just the team sort of choosing to kind of drift along again like they have? Yeah. Only now there's some concerns as well that they might doing so with yet another payroll cut for the 2026 season, further limiting their ability to compete.
Whoa. Wait, okay, so there were 2 things. Did you get to both of them? I want to make sure you get to both.
Oh, sorry, that was the first.
Okay.
The second one is that, Shelton didn't have a lot of success with the Pirates. Listen, anybody who's going to be considered for a managerial position is either to be available, you either have to have never been hired or have been fired, right? So he's the latter. He was fired. I mean, that's not uncommon. But the Pittsburgh Pirates haven't essentially been good for 30 years, but they also have not been good in the last 6 years. And in particular, their offense struggled. That's the same sort of thing that the Twins seem to be having trouble with. They also haven't really developed their prospects into major leaguers. That seems to be part of the problem that the Twins have been happening for the last year or two. And so as a result of that, I think there's a sort of like, anybody looking for a shakeup did not get a shakeup, and anybody looking for a history of success did not get a history of success.
Okay. For those who don't follow baseball as closely, I mean, so you have a manager. I mean, what's the support staff look like for him? His support team around him, other coaches, things like that. Do you feel good about that? And are we going to really see more from them than we would the manager, who might just be like a front person?
Well, that is one of the interesting things about that we'll yet to find out exactly what his assistant coaching staff is going to be looking like. I think the perception is that a lot of the names from the coaching staff that were there underneath Baldelli will be retained.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that is if you're bringing in a coach who's dead set on having his people in his positions, well, then you can see a lot of turnover. But Shelton has already worked in this organization for a while. I don't think they necessarily would have brought him in if they were expecting him to make wholesale changes. So I think people like, that support staff looks like a good bench coach. They'll probably get a new bench coach because I think the current Twins bench coach is leaving anyway. So, maybe it'll be interesting to see who they bring in for that. Like, that can be kind of a manager in training position, so maybe some of the other candidates that were mentioned, like Nick Punto or, some former Twins or something like that.
Yeah, Torrey Hunter is another one.
Maybe one of those would be considered for something like bench coach. I think the pitching coach, my guess is Pete Mackey, who's also well thought of both in the organization and throughout baseball, will probably be retained. The hitting coach, I don't know. They just got a brand new hitting coach last year, but then the Twins didn't hit much this year, and then their former hitting coach went on to be the hitting coach for the Toronto Blue Jays, who had the best offense in baseball this year and are in the World Series and a game away from winning the championship. So I'm not sure that they're necessarily going to stick with the hitting coach. I'm guessing a few others would be saved too, just because they seem, again, it kind of goes back to the stasis thing. They don't seem to be wanting to make a lot of changes right now, and there's some question about why they wouldn't be making changes given the year that they've had. But for one reason or another, they don't seem to be doing so, and therefore, I wouldn't expect too many changes in the coaching staff that supports him.
Okay. Well, so talk to us about realistic expectations then for this coming season, maybe the next.
That is a great question. We actually asked that question of Derek Falvey about a month ago when he was announcing that they had fired Baldelli and they'd be looking at the coach. And our question was, what are you going to tell the next manager when they say, what are you expecting from me next year? What are you expecting in terms of wins and losses? And Falvey basically kicked the can down the road. He said, I need to talk to ownership about what those expectations should be. Well, that's an odd thing for him to say. Like he's in charge of the team. The ownership should be asking him, what are our expectations? Like, what were you able to build? And I think a lot of it comes down to payroll. Their payroll going into this season was $140 million. If you just bring back the players that you would normally bring back, it's all the way down to $85 million this year. And so the question becomes, does that give him $55 million to play with on the free agent market? Or does that mean the Pohleds are going to be cutting payroll back to $100 million and he had to be ready for it? And the expectations are hugely different for this manager and for this team and for the fans, and probably for Falvey. If it's a $100 million payroll or a $90 million payroll versus a $140 million payroll. If it's a $140 million payroll, they need to go out and get a first baseman and a DH and start rebuilding their bullpen. And they probably can do a pretty decent job of that with that money. If the payroll is $80 million, $90 million, you might see them make further trades, like trading away somebody like Pablo Lopez, who makes $20 million this year. So it's what the expectations are. We have a press conference on Tuesday where Derek Falvey is going to be there with the new manager. And we will be asking what his ownership told you about the expectations next year, Derek, and we will see if we get an answer.
All right, John. Thank you. When can people listen to the next podcast episode with you and Aaron Gleeman?
We just the next free one will be a week from Friday. If you want to go to patreon.com/Gleeman, you can get a taste of our hour-and-a-half long discussion of Derek Shelton and what we thought of him and what we think it means for the Twins organization. That's at patreon.com/Gleeman.
Love it.
Also, Twins Daily is going to be covering this crazy over the next 3-4 days. So,
as well. We'll let you go really quick. World Series pick.
Wow. I would have told you the Dodgers, but boy, I'm pretty excited that the Blue Jays have done what they have done so far, especially given the fact that they lost their probably second best hitter 2 games ago, and they have won the 2 games since. It's going back to Toronto, and they've got to win 1 of 2, so go Jays.
Here we go. All right, John Bonus, thanks so much for your time today and all your insight. We always appreciate it. Take care.
Good to talk to you again.
See you soon. All right, bye.
Bye.
All righty. Let's see. You want a break? Don't. Let's do this. Yep. I don't know. I don't think I printed this. I might have. Hang on. I might have. I know you just said quick, and now I'm wasting your time. Sorry. I'll just read it off of here. Cheryl Reeve is going to the Hall of Fame. The Lynx head coach, also president of basketball operations, has been named now to the 2025 Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. You know the deal. 6 WNBA titles, 4 as the Lynx coach, another 2 as an assistant with Detroit. Also, of course, led the U.S. women's team to a gold medal in Paris. So just an incredible, incredible honor. HOF, look at that. Cheryl Reeve, 2025 Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. That just in this morning. All right, now we'll break and we'll come back. When we come back, we're going to take you to St. Cloud State, to be exact, where they got something going over there. It's really interesting. Medical school with kind of a specific purpose. So we'll tell you what's happening at SCSU and the U of M as well. Kind of a combo platter deal. That's a terrible way to describe it. But we'll be right back after this. More All Day Live continues. Stay with us. Welcome back to All Day Live. 1:19 is our time. It is All Hallows Eve on this Halloween Eve. Hope you have good plans, fun plans. It's going to be a little drippy, it's going to, how they describe it, kind of like drizzly maybe, but not a washout really by any means. So, should be good. Should be good. A little chilly, just for it. You know how we roll here for Halloween in these parts. All right, let's talk about this really interesting story. And I apologize because I misspoke earlier. So this is the deal. The University of Minnesota Medical School just opened a regional campus in St. Cloud, not at St. Cloud State, in St. Cloud. And what they're trying to do, it's a pretty kind of specific idea here, really trying to address what we know, which is a physician shortage, healthcare worker shortage in rural Minnesota. So the first class, 24 students, they're all from Minnesota, started this fall. And joining me now is the regional campus dean, Dr. Christopher Fallert with the U of M. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk. I'm very excited to tell you about what's going on.
So tell us about this. This is a really interesting idea. How did this come about?
Well, it started with the CEO of CentraCare, which is CentraCare is a healthcare organization that is out of St. Cloud Hospital, and surrounding communities like Long Prairie and Monticello and so forth are served by CentraCare. Ken Holman is the CEO of CentraCare. He came to that organization in 2015, and back then had the vision to create a medical school. And ultimately, in around 2020 or so, he started to form a partnership with Dr. Jacob Tolar, who is the Dean of the Medical School at the University of Minnesota. Both of them are mission-minded people who wanted to solve or address the workforce challenges that face rural Minnesota. And they collaborated to ultimately put together this new campus, the first new campus of a public medical school in Minnesota in 50 years. Oh, wow. That started just 2 months ago in St. Cloud. And so that's how it came together. It was a partnership between Centracare and the University of Minnesota, led by those two visionary leaders that caused this to happen. And so is it accurate that all the students in this class are from Minnesota? I think we had 24 or something like that. Is that the case, and is that intentional? Absolutely, it's intentional. So it's 24 students. It is one of 3 campuses of the University of Minnesota. So it joins campuses in the Twin Cities and in Duluth. So it's the 3rd campus, 24 students at St. Cloud. All of them are from Minnesota. And probably most importantly, or even more importantly, what we know about how physicians ultimately choose to practice in rural Minnesota, it comes from where they are from. That is the strongest predictor. We know that from survey data. I know that anecdotally from talking to physicians in rural communities, that being from rural Minnesota predicts the likelihood that they will serve rural Minnesota. And so here's some of the facts that we know about that. 80% of our students are from towns under 20,000, and 50% from towns under 5,000. Wow. And so we can predict that our students who represent rural Minnesota well are likely to receive their training and then go back and be part of the workforce solution that is greatly needed in rural Minnesota. Could you briefly just touch on that? Because I think, we can't talk about it enough, the crisis really that's going on in rural Minnesota in particular, and all over the country in rural areas with the healthcare system. Why was this something that you felt like now is the time to do this? Well, as our audience may know, there's already access problems in rural Minnesota. Hospitals are closing. Some hospitals are closing, and the physician workforce is aging, particularly in rural Minnesota. Sure. Here's some data about that. In rural communities, the average age of a physician serving rural Minnesota is about 60. And so it's not surprising that about a third of those are likely to retire in the next 5 years. And so we have an immediate pressing need to address that workforce shortage and that aging physician workforce, and hopefully improve access and hopefully augment the already tremendous efforts that are happening across Minnesota by really dedicated physicians and nurses and therapists and leaders that are already doing heroic work to provide care for their neighbors that's as close to home and of very high quality. But a piece to that that's been missing has been the physician workforce, and we think that this will address that. Yeah. Obviously they can make some great community connections here. Will the school help facilitate, opportunities, job opportunities after school, or how does that relationship kind of continue on beyond the classroom? Yeah, great question. A couple of different ways that may be fostered. First of all, a lot of the clinical experiences that our students will get in the 3rd and 4th years. Medical school is 4 years in training, and the last 2 years are clinical years. And we expect that a lot of those clinical experiences will be in St. Cloud, but also in surrounding rural communities where they can get some direct hands-on type clinical training in communities that they may ultimately serve. But beyond medical school is residency. And so to be a practicing physician, not only do you need to complete 4 years of medical school, but you need to be able to do residency afterwards. And so Centracare and the University of Minnesota are also collaborating on building residency programs centered around St. Cloud to train the type of physicians that are needed the most in rural Minnesota. And those are certain specialties like family medicine, which is my specialty, or pediatrics, psychiatry, general surgery, adult internal medicine, physicians that can provide OB care in rural communities. Those are the types of physicians that we're working on training and providing residency positions so that they can continue to get their training close to home and ultimately serve in rural Minnesota.
And it's just it's a great concept. I mean, anybody who knows kind of what's going on in rural Minnesota with healthcare, I can appreciate this. Do you feel like this is going to expand even more? I mean, we have this one class here in the St. Cloud area, in St. Cloud, of 24. What's the future look like for this program?
Well, we will have a new group of 24 students every year, and so we think, you know, in 4 years we're going to have 96 students in our community, so it will automatically grow that way. It's possible for the size of our class to grow slowly over time, but I think the biggest expansion will also be with the residency training opportunities that are going to happen, because we're starting with some family medicine residencies right now that are they're already established, but the residency programs in those other specialties will expand the training opportunities going forward. Another way that our system is likely to expand as well is with research, and so the partnership between Centracare and the University of Minnesota will also expand the research opportunities that are hopefully going to impact and make more efficient and more effective the delivery of care to rural communities as well. And so that partnership involves not only training medical students, but then residents, and also establishing research that's more effectively addressing the health needs of rural Minnesota as well. Yeah, well, it's a definite need and a really specific way to try to chip away at that. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Fowler. We really appreciate your time today. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm very excited about what we're doing. Great. All right. And good luck to those 24. All right. See you soon. Bye. Thank you. Yep. Okay, let's see. You want to take a quick break, Ryan? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's take a break and come back. Much more to come here. 1:28. We'll come back about 1:30. Oh yeah, we are going to go to the Palmer House. If you know, you know. Palmer House. Ooh, scary. And then if we have time, I want to try to do this today. I want to try to talk a little bit about SNAP 101. This is a nutrition supplements. This program, I want to just kind of give you the nuts and bolts of it and some resources. If we don't do it today, we'll put it on the website, and then we'll definitely hit it tomorrow. But those things and much more coming up on All Day Live. Stay with
And welcome back to All Day Live. It is 1:31 on this Thursday afternoon, so we get ready for Halloween. And I told Ryan to remind me on Monday to go crowdsource. Maybe, oh, you know, we should crowdsource from people, from our viewers too. But I was just thinking people in our newsroom who have little ones who are going to dress them up, or pets, if you dress your pets up for Halloween. And then on Monday, maybe we can play some of those. So yeah, and maybe if you have some right now, you know, you got some pictures now, you could send those to us at allday@fox.com as well. We would love to show those. We'll do another shout out, call out tomorrow for pictures as well, because I think it's just so fun. It's just so fun. All right. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Danny, right? Is it Danny? Okay, good. Yeah, when you get one word answers, sometimes you can't tell who's directing the show, but that's Danny. Thank you, Danny, for that. Allday@fox.com. Also, as long as that's up there, Medicare Monday is Monday. Medicare Monday, put it in the subject line if you have a question about your Medicare, specifically maybe Medicare Advantage, as we go into the new year. We have a live Q&A that we do every Monday. We try to aim for 12:30, and that's been working out, but we'll get those questions hopefully answered for you as well. So there you go. Also, wanted to pass along this information last night. We've been talking a lot about SNAP, which is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as food stamps. That's what it's been called for years. And I kind of was thinking about the fact that maybe not everybody understands what this is and what it isn't, and everything. So just a couple of little bullet points here to help people understand what we're talking about as we are talking about the government shutdown and the fact that, you know, that there are millions of people nationwide who rely on SNAP. So this is not a political discussion. This is just simply, here you go, this is what SNAP is. So it is the largest nutrition assistance program in the country, SNAP, right? So it stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. We're talking about 41 million people nationwide. In Minnesota, we have a statistic here, 453,000 Minnesotans who use SNAP benefits, 7% of the state's population, if you do the math on that. So again, this is providing temporary assistance to low-income households. It's federally funded by the Ag Department, but then the states kind of direct the program and then administer the benefits at the county level. And that eligibility that we just talked about is based on household size, income, citizenship, other factors as well. And essentially, when you receive SNAP benefits, you receive this EBT card, which is electronic benefit transfer card. And it's like a debit card, and there's money that's put on there depending upon your circumstances, and you qualify then to pay for items that you need, grocery items at the grocery store, sometimes even farmers markets and online as well. But there are certain items that are not covered and certain items that are. What it is not, as you're hearing about SNAP being in jeopardy, this is not WIC, W-I-C. This is not Women, Infants, and Children, which is the program that helps, you know, women, young mothers, and infants, you know, have things like formula, things that they need when they first have a baby. Free and reduced meal programs. This is not that. Commodity supplemental food program for seniors. This is not that. Senior linkage line. None of that is this. This is solely the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or the food stamp aspect of it, where you would take an EBT card and buy the things that you need. There was a map that I saw yesterday that I thought was really, really helpful. Oh shoot, okay. Ryan's he's working on it. He's trying to pull this up, but if not today, maybe we can pull it up tomorrow. But also, if you just want to go to, it's on the Census Bureau website, and it breaks it down by county. And so when I was taking a look at Minnesota, and you know what, I'm gonna actually, Ryan, if I can just try to do it this way, let me know if we're like really jamming, and we got to keep moving here. But hold on a second. So census narrative map for SNAP by county. I'm going to see if I can find it here. Here, okay, I think this is it. But so I was looking for some numbers last night, and you know, here specifically here in Minnesota, and most of the stats that I was seeing were from 2016 or 2021. So I was trying to find something more current. And then I found this, which was on the census. You know what, I'm just gonna go into my email here and try to pull it up. It's okay, I know, it's all good, Ryan. I know, don't worry about it, I got it. I'm gonna pull it up right here. Also some resources for you too here, okay. And I'll try to pull this and show this here, and I'll do my best to do this. But if you can kind of see here on this, there you go. So this is that interactive map. And sorry, I know the lights are probably making it a little tricky to see. Oh, it's okay, Danny. Thanks. You can kind of see. So obviously here in Minnesota, and then if I hover up, and sorry if this is not, but if I go and I kind of hover around the different counties, you can see it's going to tell you which counties, how many people in the county use it. So I'm going to go to Mahnomen. Right here is the one that sticks out. It's the darkest color. And sorry, I know you probably can't see that, but it's SNAP households, 21.6%. in Mahnomen County. We know that White Earth Reservation is also in White Earth County. And so we're going to be digging into this just a little bit more because we wanted to look at the hardest hit counties that was the hardest hit by far. Ramsey County, SNAP households, 11.1%. Candy-Ojai, 10.7%. Swift County, 11.1%. Stevens County, this is western Minnesota now, West Central, 10.7%. Wilkin, Traverse, and then down Mower County is at 11.5%. And then you've got a bunch kind of up in that Cass County, Wadena, Itasca, Beltrami is at 13.8%. And then Clearwater as well, and Polk. So those are the ones that are really the hardest hit as we're thinking about. It doesn't look as though there's going to be any kind of government reopening, and we don't know yet if there's going to be any emergency funding or anything put into place. But as we're just preparing people for what could happen on Saturday when these benefits run out, we want to let you know there are some resources on our website we put together. I know there's a list of restaurants that are coming together, and more are being added all the time. Restaurants that are offering free meals. There's just different times and opportunities for you to do that. Sorry, I'm just going to hop on the website here, and I don't need to hear myself talking. Okay, yeah, and other resources as well, and we'll put more on there. But one thing I did notice yesterday as I was surfing around is Second Harvest Heartland, many of you know of as one of the major, food shelves in our area. They have a great resource page, and I did not know this, but Second Harvest Heartland actually, I think thanks to a grant, they staff the largest team of full-time SNAP outreach and assistance specialists in the state. So that would be a good resource for you, or if someone you know needs some help trying to figure this out, or if you need to apply for it, and despite everything that's happening, if you need to apply, definitely just apply, get that ball rolling. We know needs right now are just through the roof, unprecedented needs, people visiting food shelves, food pantries that have never done it before in record numbers. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. They even talk about places like Mahnomen County where you have the tribe involved, and some of those different things to navigate there as well. Information in several languages, where to find emergency food even just this weekend and beyond. So really good. Again, that Second Harvest Heartland's website. It's the number 2harvest.org. The number 2harvest.org is their website. And we'll go over some of this again tomorrow as well. There are some pop-up places that are going to be giving food away, some mobile markets, things like that, and we'll continue to put them on our website and make sure people have access to that as well as we approach the deadline here on Saturday. Okay, 1 second. All right, 1:40 is our time, and well, Ryan, I know we've got a big interview coming up. We're going back to central Minnesota. I know we just came from central Minnesota. We're going back to central Minnesota, but very different story this time. Have you heard of the Palmer House? Do you know the Palmer House? It's one of those, if you know, you know. It's spooky season, and we're going to talk to the folks at the Palmer House, and you'll see why when All Day Live continues. More headlines, more live coverage for you coming up. Stay with us.
Well, we were cloudy, we were foggy, I guess we were more foggy than anything else. Now we just have some clouds rolling on into the area for our Thursday, happy Thursday, by the way, our Thursday afternoon. Partly sunny to mostly cloudy to cloudy through the day today. Glimmers of blue here and there as we replace our morning fog with some extra clouds, we'll simply call it, as a cold front moving across the state today dies. Ooh, ominous on top of us. A couple of sprinkles out west. Kind of fade away, but the spirit of the cold front haunts us as we creep into Halloween. 49 degrees for a high this afternoon is actually just a couple of degrees below average overall. As we slip into Halloween, oh, the ghosts of the cold front linger as the cloud cover lingers tonight and tomorrow. A couple of those sprinkles do indeed kind of flare and fade off and on. Very weak amounts of moisture here as we go for a high of 45 tomorrow. Trick-or-treat time. Oh, now that's a scary skeleton. We'll go from the mid-40s to the low 40s as we slide on into the 8 o'clock hour by the time trick-or-treaters are hopefully wrapping up by that point. Sunset, by the way, tomorrow night is at 6:02, so just some passing clouds, some peaks of sun on Halloween, and again, maybe some creepy and eerie little mist here and there, but maybe he froze in place. Poor skeleton. As we go on into the first day of November on Saturday, we got ourselves partly sunny conditions, a high of 46, still just a tick below average, but then everything changes and woof. Here comes some sunshine. We get rid of daylight saving time. Sun goes down at 4:59 in the afternoon, but we're heading to highs back to the middle 50s, and it's all about the warmth, quote unquote, for November. Mid to upper 50s. It's not crazy warm, but it's 10 degrees above average as we head on into the middle days of next work week. Fox 9 All Day Live continues. We are back right after the break.
All right, welcome back to All Day Live. The gremlins are active in our computer system today. Ryan's having issues. I'm having issues now. Can't get in anywhere here. But it's a good thing we have a really good interview lined up that we don't need this thing for right now. So if you're in the Halloween spirit, this is going to be right up your alley. If you're not, you're about to be. The Palmer House in Sauk Center. It is known as one of the most haunted places in Minnesota. Owner of the hotel, Kelly Freeze, didn't know the building was haunted when she bought the hotel back in 2002. And then, though, Kelly just embraced this, the haunted spirit of the Palmer House. And this is Kelly joining us now. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for asking.
I can't imagine. You guys are probably super busy, and I imagine there's things you want to tell us about here in a minute about tomorrow, right?
Oh, well, it just starts tonight and goes through the whole weekend. It's actually been going on all month already.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, let's take us back. For those who don't know, tell me about the hotel. You know, how you crossed paths with it, and what happened from there.
You know, the Palmer House had closed. The previous owner had closed it, and there was a lot of talk about it just maybe being tore down and having a parking lot would be a better option. And so that was a real driving force of what made us decide to give it a shot. And I know I'm not originally from Sauk Center, so I knew nothing of the folklore or the history. And so, yeah, I just learned by default.
And what is the folklore and the history? You gotta fill us in.
It's that it's always been haunted. You go back and you talk to previous owners, or the locals that have lived there their whole lives. Subsequently, I learned about that and learned stories from them, and it just is what it is. I can't tell you why. I don't know.
I'm sure people ask you all the time. But so how did you first realize, okay, there's something going on here? And what have you experienced and seen for yourself?
It was happening right from the beginning, but in ways that it just happened in all of our daily lives. Where's my keys? Where did I set down my phone? Why can't I find anything? And then it would evolve to much larger items doing that, items moving, being alone in the building and it sounding like one of my coworkers is here calling my name and I'm trying to find them, and to full body apparitions that I literally have interacted with, and then they just vanish before my eyes.
Oh my goodness. So, we have a photo that I think Ryan's going to pop up. Okay. Oh, tell us what we're seeing here.
Yeah, this is the person at the end. You can see somebody peeking through a doorway, and to the right of them is one of my tour guides that when she was done doing a tour, she was walking through shutting off lights, and another person was walking behind her and was just snapping pictures. And the shadow that you see on the left, if the image was a little bit smaller, it's completely a very, very tall, large man. And you can see right through him to see the wall and the baseboard, and the shadow wouldn't have even been able to have been cast forward. It's yeah, you can't explain it.
Oh my goodness. So, okay, how many years ago was it that you bought it?
I'm on year 24.
Oh my goodness, 24. And so what have you done since then, as far as, I know people who have been there and they've done like the ghost hunting and things. So what kinds of things can people do when they come there?
A lot of people come and they just want to be here. They just want to be in the building, and it doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to do a basement tour or attend an event to have an experience. You can have it while you're having lunch, or sitting in the lobby reading a book, or in your hotel room. So people are kind of always doing their own little investigations in all of the areas that they can. And, just looking for that one experience that will solidify being a believer.
Yeah. So how many people work at the hotel? Is it you, or are there other people? Is it hard to find people to want to work there, or not?
It's hard to know. It's even talking about this. It's, I might be scaring people away talking about this that might otherwise want to come here. It's difficult to measure, but all of us here, there's about 8-10 of us right now. We've just embraced it. I have longevity with all of my coworkers, and we just accept it. I mean, we maybe can't explain it, but we also can't deny it.
Do you have any ideas of like who the people who used to live there, or like these apparitions, who they might be, or do you have any instincts or feelings or knowledge?
Yes, actually, one of my very first ones that I said I interacted with was Hazel Palmer, who was the daughter of the Palmer family that built the house. And she was a child when she lived here, but she presented as an adult woman. And interestingly enough, years later, I was able to identify her when I hosted a Palmer family reunion, and they came with their scrapbooks and photo albums. And that was when I knew who it was I had seen. And she actually showed up one other time in a large group of people, and they all saw her, didn't think anything of her, just thought maybe she was dressed interesting. And several of them interacted with her as well. Nobody even knew that what they were seeing wasn't real.
Crazy. And so the Palmer family, there's still members of that family who are still around, and you said you had a reunion?
Yes, we had the first time the Palmer family had ever had a reunion, and we hosted it here.
Wow.
So, it was amazing. It was amazing.
What do you guys do? You say you're so busy. Thank you for spending some time with us. I was like, can she do it tomorrow? They were like, no, she's so busy tomorrow. So tell us what's going on. I understand, like, you're booked. Like, nobody should think that they could just come over and walk in and.
No, well, you're certainly welcome to come in and have breakfast, lunch, or dinner, but. Actually, the hotel is sold out all through the weekend. If we allowed it, we would probably be sold out 3 years in advance. We just don't book that far ahead. So no, some of the guests are here now. The rest of them arrived today. Tomorrow it's trick or treat on Main Street downtown, so it'll be busy with that. We're having a huge costume party here, of course. Anybody can come and attend. We've got live music in our pub tomorrow night, and then it will just all continue into Saturday, and for some even Sunday. Some aren't going to go home till Monday, so you make the best of it.
That's right. You got a weekend now with Halloween, which gives you all kinds of opportunities. Have you ever had anybody run away scared? Like they just were like, I can't stay here, or they just had
yeah.
Really?
Actually, we've had that happen with several hotel guests. Some, depending on the weather, have slept in their car. Some have left and gone to another hotel, and then they come back the next day or the next morning and collect their luggage, and it's funny because they'll tell me maybe what it was that happened that made them leave, and I always think, oh, you probably should have started out just having lunch if that was enough to make you flee the building. Like, it can happen anytime and anywhere. So
yeah, exactly. Well, thanks for carving out a little time with us today. Really interesting stuff. I know people here who've been and visited. I think Keith Marler took his family before. So we appreciate you spending time with us, and happy Halloween to you.
To you as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. All right, take care. Stay safe. Stay safe, Kelly. Stay safe. Ooh, Ryan.
What do you think about that, Amy?
I don't know. I've been on a ghost hunt. Four Paws is an old restaurant in St. Paul, and I went on but it was for a story. So then there was a camera, and Josh, photojournalist, was there.
You felt okay?
So I felt safe. But I'm a big scaredy cat, but I felt safe. But the ghost hunt was actually really fun. It was in the middle of the night. It was really fun. Not scary at all.
Okay.
But I don't think I could do this. How about you?
I'd like to say that I could, but then 2 a.m. might roll around, and I might. She talked about guests who left. I might run out and.
I know.
And I bail.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. When we were doing that story at Four Paws, Josh and I were doing an interview in the dining room, and I'm not making this up. We were doing this interview, and you know how the photographers will set up a light. It's just a kind of a whatever. I've never really had this happen on a shoot, but all of a sudden in the corner during the interview, that light fell. It's on. We were rolling on it, and I turned around and I said, "Did you do that?" And he said, "No." And it was like on the other side of the room, and that light just fell down.
See, I'd be like, I'm out. I would interview over.
It was fun. But it's really interesting. Really interesting. All right, do we need to take another break?
No. We're good with break. We've got all of our commitments in.
I love it.
The sales department is happy.
Somebody sent us an email the other day, and they were like, limited breaks, and they really liked that. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That's kind of what we do. I mean, breaks are good. We don't get advertisements like you and I don't have a job, so this is really important.
Yeah, we don't do this for volunteer. We don't volunteer for this.
Although we would, Ryan, if they.
I mean, we would.
Well, we would think about it.
We've got 90 seconds here
that's it?
before we leave you with some Zen.
Oh, okay, good.
Halloween tomorrow. Are you dressing up, Amy?
No, I am not. That's a hard no. No, I am not fun in that way. How about you? I know you are.
I'm not. No.
But your son Henry is.
Henry's gonna be a lion. Yeah.
Is he gonna do the rawr?
He does do a little rawr. I told you it sounds a little bit like the kid from The Shining, though. So we don't encourage it a lot.
But. Oh no! But the most important? Is he gonna bring his little toy vacuum? Because this is his
Loves
pride
his
and joy.
Loves his vacuum, but now he wants the actual vacuum.
Oh.
You know, he likes to push his toy vacuum, but he likes the bigger vacuum too.
After my
and
own
he's
heart.
not scared of that. You turn that thing on, he's not scared of it.
I just love it. Well, promise me that you'll keep pictures, and people at home, if you have pictures tomorrow, and then Monday we'll do a call out too. I would love to see your pets and your kiddos all dressed, or yourself. I mean, if you're more fun than we are, then by all means, if you're fun like Lori over there, be it Men in Black. I love it. I've had that song in my head all day. Men in Black.
Don't sing it too much. We might have to pay for the rights to it.
That's true. I better not. Well. All right. Thanks for being with us, rolling with us here the last couple of hours. We're back tomorrow, Halloween. Can't wait to see you, and have a great day, everybody. A little serenity now for you.
The Fox 9 Morning News at 11. Thanks for joining us. See you again tomorrow for the Fox 9 Morning News and the Fox 9 Morning News at 11. Fox 9 All Day is coming up next. I hope you enjoy your day. Sir, I hope you catch your dinner. Enjoy, and I'll see you again soon.
Thanks so much for joining us here on All Day Live. We're glad that we can spend a couple of hours with you here covering our developing news of the day. A lot of things we're keeping an eye on, some live events as well, and some really good interviews that we have coming up here over the course of the next couple of hours. Our Paul Bloom's going to join us in about 30 minutes. There's some court cases that he's been keeping an eye on that we want to go through and kind of update you, some high-profile cases because there have been some developments there. And then coming up next hour, we are also going to, well, we're going to do a couple of different things, but one thing we're going to do is we're going to talk to folks in the St. Cloud area, specifically St. Cloud State, where the U of M is trying something there. It's a medical school that they're trying at St. Cloud State, kind of a division with a very specific goal in mind to help out rural health care. So we'll talk about that as well. And boy, we've got to go through some SNAP resources for you and a lot more. So we hope you stick with us. Our top story, though, is one that broke, gosh, late yesterday afternoon, and that is the Minnesota Twins have a new manager, and it's a name that for baseball fans might be familiar. Derek Shelton has spent 5+ seasons now managing the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's the Twins pick. So Shelton was actually fired by the Pirates earlier this season. 12-26 start. Before that, he was the bench coach for the Twins under Paul Molitor and Rocco Baldelli. So I wanted to bring Ryan in here for just a second. And Ryan, you know, I texted you right when I saw it. I was like, who? What? Huh? Tell us what we know about him.
Well, he's certainly not the big splashy name that Twins fans may have hoped for, but he is a name. And if you look at some of the candidates that the Twins were talking to, were interviewing, there were a lot of names that even I, as a pretty big follower of baseball, had not recognized and had no managerial experience. Shelton does. Now, we can kind of look back on his record and decide how much that experience is going to help him. He did have kind of a tough situation in Pittsburgh. They had a lot of young players, but they had a lot of really good young talent in the later part of his career, the last few seasons. I mean, Paul Skeens is one of the best pitchers in baseball, O'Neill Cruz, so he had some. And the expectation with Pittsburgh is that they were going to turn it around and get a little bit better, and that did not happen, and that's what led to him being fired from Pittsburgh. So now he comes back to Minnesota, where he kind of got his start as a bench coach under Paul Molitor, as you mentioned, and then Rocco Baldelli. So he is a name that's familiar to some Twins fans, maybe not all Twins fans.
Yeah, you know, definitely, yeah, not a recognizable name for the casual sports fan. Next hour, John Bonus is going to join us, I think, pretty much off the top of the 1 o'clock, and we'll talk a little bit more about him as well, But interesting development, kind of came out of nowhere. I think we all were kind of, like forgot about it for a while, and then all of a sudden, and surprisingly doing it during the World Series too. That was an interesting bit of timing too.
I mean, yes, I know there's kind of some frustration that we wanted. You know, Terry Francona was not going to walk through the door. But if you look at some of the other hires by teams that had manager opening, you would not recognize a lot of names. There was one college coach that just got hired from San Francisco, and so, you know.
Well, here we go.
Here we are.
Here we are, and here we go. Okay, we'll see what happens, and we'll talk to John Bonus next hour. Thanks. I'll talk to you in just a little bit, because I'll probably need you to pop back in here in just a bit, but we'll roll through some of our other headlines here. Before we do that, though, last night, in case you missed it, in case you didn't stay up, after the World Series, our Jimmy Rich had a really great interview one-on-one with Kent Herbeck, and I know some of you didn't get a chance to see it, so it really is the first time, I believe, that we've heard from Herbie since his stroke in April. It looks like he's doing really well. He and Jim go way back. It's a great conversation, so I believe we're getting that ready to put on the website if it isn't already, so you can check that out, but definitely go find that one if you can. Okay, to some of our headlines now. We have been following this story about Minnesota Rusco, which broke in the last couple of days, and we just got a statement here on behalf of Minnesota Rusco, which so we'll get into kind of the details of who owns what here, but Minnesota Rusco has been owned now for 3 years by a private equity firm called Renovo Home Partners. And again, this is the first time that we've heard now anything since they shuttered the doors here. So the statement reads, I think, do we have it on a graphic, Ryan? Maybe we don't. Oh, it's okay. That's okay. No graphic. Okay. So the statement is, hold on, let me get to it here. Hang on. Hold with me. Want to make sure that I get this just right. So hang with me here, please. Thank you. Okay, let me get it. I got it. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, it says, it's very short. Dear Minnesota, with heavy hearts, we regrettably inform you Minnesota Rusco, a Renovo Home Partners company, has ceased all operations. We would like to wish our staff and their families the best as they navigate these difficult times, and thank all of Minnesota for their 70 years of support and trust. And you can find, if you go on the website, that is what's on the website right now. A couple of things to add into this conversation and this story. So I had a chance just a couple of hours ago actually to speak with one of the family members who was part of that sale, Minnesota Rusco to Renovo, Diana Deems, who gave me some more information. So again, she's reiterating that the family sold Minnesota Rusco 3 years ago to this private equity firm, Renovo Home Partners. 3 sons who continued to work there. 2 of them, probably the ones you've seen in the commercials most recently, continued to work with the company after the sale. According to Diana, the oldest son received a phone call 8 a.m. on Tuesday from Renovo telling them that they were shuttering the business and that they were filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Everybody needed to be out. The doors needed to be locked by 5 p.m. the next day, which would have been Wednesday, yesterday. And so Diana says that Renovo then had the brothers notify the employees, which they did via a Zoom call. There are an estimated about 100 people, more or less, who work there. She says that Renovo gave these employees 3 days worth of insurance. And also part of the story here, Renovo closed another 6 companies in its portfolio that same day. Minnesota Rusco is the only one here in Minnesota, but essentially had this conversation with Diana, who said the family is just devastated. They're sick about what happened. She said so many of those employees are like family. They're watching as all these innocent people are losing money in projects, the contractors, the customers, with no warning. And she just wanted to share that that's not, she says, what their family spent years representing. They've been part of the community. They're obviously very visible because you see their commercials everywhere. And she wanted people to know, the family was really blindsided by this, and most importantly, they're devastated for everybody involved. Didn't want to go on camera, just really shaken up about the whole thing. And so, but asked that we pass that statement along to you as part of the information on that continuing story. A couple of things that we are watching today, some live events this afternoon. 12:15, so in just a couple of minutes here, there's going to be a virtual phone call. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey is going to be joining some other Democratic mayors from across the country on this call. They're there to talk about the impacts of SNAP funding that are expected to run out on Saturday. And we know that that's a federal food program that helps 41 million people find well-balanced meals, including more than 4,000 here in Minnesota. The shutdown is what's causing this right now, day 30. Just a quick synopsis. Yesterday, the 13th vote happened on the Senate floor. 13th time it failed. The Senate is back in session this afternoon, but there is no vote. As far as I saw right before I came out here, there was no vote scheduled for today. And then for context, 35 days is our longest shutdown up until now. So we'll continue to watch that. And there's that 12:15 call that we'll keep an eye on. Also, at 12:30, something else that we're going to have a camera at, and we will bring to you if we can at all do it. Otherwise, you'll see the coverage later on today. But this is also in Minneapolis. There is a call for justice and accountability for Allison Lucier and Mariah Samuels. These are 2 young women who were killed by their ex-partners. So the Twin Cities Coalition for Justice is leading a press conference, again, 12:30, along with the victims' families, community members, and other activists. And they have a list of demands and things that they wanted to get out in the public, including the city of Minneapolis. They say they want them to prioritize domestic violence cases. They're actually asking for Chief Brian O'Hara to be terminated, along with some other things as well. So they're basically saying that these couple of cases really highlight what they're calling egregious failures of MPD to protect Black and Indigenous women. So we'll check in on that here in just a little bit. And also we have reached out to MPD as well to get a statement from them. So we'll bring that to you. One more quick thing here, 2 o'clock. So after we're off the air, but we're going to be watching this as well. So we're learning more about a new safe station in Minneapolis. This is a community resource that helps people with substance abuse, even opioid abuse. This is an announcement today that's happening at 2, and it's happening because the first that they had, so these are in fire stations, the first one in fire station, I believe 14, has apparently had a lot of success in the community, according to the city. So they're putting a second one in fire station 7. That's the Seward, Cedar Riverside, and Ventura neighborhoods in South Minneapolis. So that is coming to a fire station near you, those really critical life-saving resources. Okay, one thing that we want to talk about tonight that's happening. Let's see. Cathedral of St. Paul is hosting a special memorial, also a benefit concert, and this is for Annunciation Church and School. So if you want to go out there at 7:30 tonight, some different orchestras, some singing groups performing songs in the cathedral. There's a children's choir performing as well. So it's music and just some reflection. And again, Cathedral of St. Paul, the Cathedral Choir, St. Cecilia Children's Choir, Minnesota Orchestra, St. Paul Chamber Orchestra as well. So a lot of incredible talent will be there. Vocal Essence as well. It is free to attend. However, they will be accepting donations that they say will benefit directly these families who are affected by the Annunciation shooting, and also the organizations who have been supporting the community recovery as well. So that's happening tonight, and we'll be following that. Wanted to share this with you because this is a photograph that was shared by Annunciation Catholic School. This is on their Facebook page, their trunk and treat event. So Care Bear right there is Sophia Fortis. She was released from HCMC just last week. If you were watching us live that day, we got to play some of that in full, and seeing her come out and hug the nurses and doctors and everybody who's been helping her, and community members and friends and family who've been supporting her. Just such an incredible moment. She spent nearly 2 months, of course, at HCMC after she was shot in the head, the last person to be released from the hospital after that horrific morning. And her doctors at the time, remember, they were saying, they were bracing everybody for the worst and saying if she even survives this, it's going to be a miracle. And so to see her walking and talking was incredible, and clearly a long journey ahead. So if you can get out and support them at the Cathedral in St. Paul tonight, a really, really good opportunity to do that. Also, one quick note here, if you have any bows of love, they're calling them. These are those green and blue bows that you've seen throughout the city. Maybe you've got some at your home. There's an organization, Bows of Love. They're working to collect them. In Minneapolis, they're asking, the city's asking that this is the last day to kind of have those out in public spaces. You can keep them at your homes as long as you want, but they're hoping to turn these into a future memorial. So if you could, hang on to those or help collect them, if you see some on trees, things like that, and hold on to them, and then you can donate them to the future memorial, hopefully, that's going to be happening using some of those bows. All right. Before Jared Piepenberg is here, we want to talk about Melissa a little bit. We want to talk about our forecast, but before we do that, a really big development overnight that we wanted to just share with you. China, so President Trump back in the U.S. now, his trip to Asia, we've been watching that. There was a lot riding on this meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The president saying on a scale of 1 to 10 that meeting, he's calling it a 12. The headline for our region is that China has agreed to buy U.S. soybeans. China also agreed to allow exports of some rare earth minerals, but this really is if this goes through, if this happens, will be such a big deal to so many of our farmers here in Minnesota. The U.S. in turn, just kind of tell you some of the concessions here. The U.S. has agreed to lower some of its tariffs from 20% down to 10%, and that's effective immediately. And those were the ones that were put in place to get China to stop selling chemicals that the U.S. said that they were using to make fentanyl. But again, some people skeptical, saying China's president has a history of sometimes backing out of these deals with American presidents. But let's just hope that that's some really promising news for our soybean farmers here in our country, and of course here at home. All right, let's talk about Hurricane Melissa. In fact, if it's okay with you guys, I don't know if we have any video to show or anything, but if we could just, there we go, bring Jared in with me here, and you can put up his mic. And Jared, talk us through kind of where we are right now with Melissa.
Well, I'm guessing here we're seeing cleanup efforts for, you know, what's going on after it moved through Jamaica and then part of Cuba. But at the moment, it's just hanging out to sea off the eastern seaboard of the lower 48, kind of passed by the Bahamas, and now it's getting caught up in the upper atmospheric flow. So just like it's going so much faster than it was just meandering around in the Caribbean Sea there for a while. You know, days ago we were just watching it like, where's this really powerful storm going to go? Then it started to get a trajectory, and then we saw which way that it went to. So yeah, it of course did a lot of damage. The one nice thing is we had a little bit of lead time once it started to move. You know, like folks could start moving around there and do what they need to do with just getting out of the way of the hurricane. So there's our weather graphics. You can see kind of east of Florida. That's where Melissa's at right now. So category 2 still. So a very powerful storm, but there's really nothing around except you see that little black dot to the northeast, which will be just west of where the track is going. That's Bermuda. Okay. That little black dot. So they're going to be dealing with the potential of effects of a hurricane, even though it doesn't look like a direct hit right now. It'll be to the west, but still it'll be close enough that the vicinity of that really powerful storm, it'll probably still be between a 2 and a 1. You can see the forecast for tomorrow morning is to be at category 1. So yeah, it'll be moving out to sea. In the meantime, our weather pretty quiet here.
Let's talk about this. People are like, wait, I hear it's going to rain on Halloween. So kind of set us straight here.
I would say some folks are probably going to just notice maybe some drizzle, some misting, maybe a couple just random drops as this little weak wave's moving on by. There's another one going by today off toward western Minnesota where it looks like some folks are maybe seeing a couple wet snowflakes. There's some cold enough air aloft that it's just kind of hanging out here near us. Tomorrow, parts of the eastern Dakotas may see a little bit of that. Around Minnesota, just expecting kind of be out like, oh, did I just notice a couple drops here and there? And there may be a couple showers in the mix too, but enough to cancel Halloween plans, I don't see that at all. Just there'll be a select few people like, well, I ended up being one of those that had like, you know, that brief, tiny little weak shower or something like that. So I don't think it'll be that big a deal, but it's still going to be kind of cool. Not as cold as last year. If you remember, last year was just a horrible day.
Yeah, it was awful. Yeah, and we've had other years where it's been, you know, hot, almost warm. Yeah. But good. It's, you know, it's still decent, and you get to see some of the costumes, and it's going to be just fine. It's not a washout by any means.
You may just need an extra layer on being out and about because, you know, you saw the graphic there. It's still going to be in the lower 40s probably by the end of trick-or-treat time, which is chilly for running around. But yeah, I don't see any snow pants or anything like that for tomorrow. So there's good news.
Good deal. All right. Thank you, Jared. Appreciate it very much. Well, let's take a break. We'll come on back here much more on All Day Live. We hope you can stay with us here as we cover your day's news. We'll be right back.